How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the very first Learn to Race community race. You'll have seen over the last couple of months that I've been organising a race with a bunch of you guys, my subscribers, to come and head down to a track and race alongside me and get yourself into one of these videos. And that race took place about 2 weeks ago now, so here's the run through of what went on, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you did, as always, please give it a like, drop me a comment down below, and if you are new here and you want to take part in future events like this, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you know when future videos come out. So let's just get straight into this one. Here we go then, boys and girls, the very first community race. This consisted of what you're about to see now, a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 15-minute grid start race. And whilst we just go through this first lap and the obligatory flag test at TeamSport Run, I just want to say an absolutely massive thank you to each and every one of you that turned up to this race. I really appreciate the support, and also all of you guys that watched the live stream on the day. I've got to say, on the build up to this, I was pretty nervous. I was putting myself well and truly outside of my comfort zone. I do not particularly like being the centre of attention, but I've got to say I had an absolutely wicked time. All of you guys super friendly. I knew a few of you anyway, but it was good to meet some new faces, and hopefully I will see more of you again in the future, because there will be more of this style event. This was just sort of like a test event to make sure that the interest is out there from you guys, to hopefully do plenty more in the months and years to come. I'm going to start by saying this qualifying session was hands down the cleanest 15 minutes of racing at TeamSport I have ever had at any track that I've been to. There was not one single yellow flag waved at all. The marshals must have been awed out of their mind, but it was great for us because we could just go around hot lapping for an entire 15 minutes. For one lap I did do a bit of a cool down. I dropped down to a 54 second just to catch a bit of a break, catch my breath and find a bit of space out on track, so I was catching up with a few people. But I managed to set my fastest lap on lap 4, which was a 41.320, and that is actually only 1/10 off my personal best around here, and I've not been here since I think it was October time. I can't quite remember, September, October, so I've not raced here for a long time, and to come straight out and be 1/10 off my fastest ever time is absolutely brilliant. And I've got to say, looking at my times, I'm ridiculously consistent on this session. I was doing 41.8, 41.6, my fastest 41.3, 41.7, 41.7, 41.9, 41.4, 41.7, 41.5. It just goes on like that. There was only about 3 or 4 laps that I was not in the 41s, so I felt really on it. I felt really comfortable in the car, and I've got to say, for the first time in a long while, I actually felt like I was driving really well. So I'm just going to play you my fastest lap now, and then we are going to run through the starting grid for the race. So there you go then, a couple of small mistakes, but overall that was actually a pretty clean lap. So now let's go through that starting grid. And starting on the back row is Sam Richardson in P16 and Christopher Torrance in P15. Then up in 14th we've got Paul Green, and just ahead of him is Andrew Corker. Then in 12th place we have Tom Parker, followed by Sam Morris in 11th. Now starting your top 10 is the first of three brothers, Jack Wareham, and he's just behind James Critch up in 9th. And then in P8 you've got Ben Cresswell and the second of the three brothers, George Wareham. And then P6 you've got Sam Cox, and P5 is the third of the three brothers, Jason Wareham. And then in P4 you have Matthew Odie, who was a very last minute booking. He actually only booked on the week of the race. And in P3 then is David Gaskin. And then on the front row, P2 somehow was me with my lap, and the pole sitter is Mr. Tom Walwyn with a 41.262. So now we've got the starting grid, let's get this race underway. Right, here we are then on the start grid, and as the girl goes up there to press the button for the lights, I have one thing in my mind and one thing only, and that is to get over to the left hand side as quick as I can to try and block any advances from P3 getting up my inside and making a move on me. So here we go, wait for those lights to go out, and we have the green light, so I immediately move over to the left. P3 does indeed get on my inside, but that makes it the outside for me, which is then the inside for these next couple of corners, and we managed to keep P2. So as we go down the ramp now, I'm just wondering whether there's going to be a dive, and no, there wasn't, just able to take the racing line. So as you can see, P1 is actually already pulled away quite a bit from me as it is, and I go mega deep into that hairpin. Managed to recover it though, luckily don't lose any positions and don't really get caught in any battles. Is anyone going to sling it down the inside? No, racing line again. Quick glance to my side and you can see P3 is right there on my tail, so I am wondering whether they'll go for a dive up the inside here, and again no, so we're just going to take the racing line, and that is lap 1 done and dusted. Managed to consolidate P2, keep our position from the starting grid, and now it's just a case of getting my head down and trying to catch up with P1 and potentially dropping P3. Sadly though, over the next few laps I suffer from a pretty poor start. The kart that I've got is different to the one that I had in qualifying, and it has absolutely no grip at all. The tyres just were not working for the first probably 4 laps or so. So on lap 4 you'll see here I do leave the door open a little bit, but also it was from lack of grip. And Matt from P4, who got himself into P3, now goes through into P2, which then compromises me on the next couple of corners, and Dibs, who started P3, also manages to get a good little cutback on me and goes through into P3, and that's me down into 4th place. So I've really lost out on this one. So now I really need to concentrate to not lose any more positions and hopefully try and keep on the back of these guys, so should any battling commence between them, I will hopefully be able to pounce on that. Here we are then at the end of lap 5, and as you can see I've managed to keep up with the guys in front, so my tyres at this point now are up to temperature and they are giving me the grip I need. Probably not quite as much as I'd like, but it will do. And as we go through onto lap 6, you are going to see Matt up in second place make exactly the same move on Tom for the lead of the race, which then in turn also bunches the front three up for me. So I'm thinking, right, game on. Hopefully I can get now onto the back of these guys and see if I can capitalise on any mistakes, see if I can force any errors from anyone. Jumping forward a few laps to lap 9 now, and as you can see, the gap between me and third place has grown ever so slightly, and I'm pretty sure now there is no chance for me to finish on the podium. So now it's just a case of trying to keep this fourth place and not going any further back. But as we get towards the end of lap 9, you're going to see Dibs up in third place look for a move down the inside into the first hairpin on Tom in second, but could not make that move stick. So now I'm really starting to think, is this my opportunity now to get on the back of them and try and pounce on a few mistakes? End of lap 10, start of lap 11, and Dibs goes for the same move because he's a little bit closer. He does get nicely at the inside of Tom, but then Tom gets slightly ran into the barrier, which at the time I thought, oh, that was a little bit naughty. But watching this back and playing a replay now, you can see basically Tom around the outside was just in Dibs's blind spot. There was no chance that Dibs could see him basically, so he thought he'd cleared him, gone out to take the racing line, but Tom was still slightly alongside, and that just shoved him into the barrier. Was not intentional, I think it was just a racing incident, but that does bring out the first red flag of the race. Once that red flag was cleared out over the course of the next lap, there was another 2 red flags. I don't know what happened in either of those. They were not where I was on the track, but as we are stopped here right at the end of the lap and the third red flag, you're going to see there is Jason in P4 who is right next to me. So now I'm thinking I'm back on the podium, but I could very well be back off it, so I need to get my A game out to try and keep this position. And my A game is what I brought. As you can see, by lap 14 I have now dropped Jason in 4th, who has got Tom right on his tail. So they're going to have a battle now to the end of the race. At this point as well, I don't know how long is left in the race. I know that it's been going on for quite a while and we are due the checkered flag sometime soon. But come lap 16, that's where I set my fastest lap, and also what turned out to be the fastest lap of the race, which was a 41.055. So I was super happy with that. I would have liked to have got down into the 40s, but I have, with that lap, shaved off 2/10 from my new PB. So I am super happy with that. And you're going to see, as we finish that lap, that was the final lap of the race as well. So I come home with the fastest lap and 3rd place. Race over then, here are the results, and in 16th place is Sam Richardson, in 15th James Critch, in 14th Chris Torrance, in 13th Sam Morris, in 12th George Wareham, and in 11th Paul Green. And starting your top 10 is Andy Corker, and in P9 was Tom Parker, followed by Ben Cresswell in 8th, George Wareham in 7th, and Sam Cox in 6th. And then your 5th place goes to Tom Walwyn, and 4th to Jason Wareham. And then your top 3 are me in 3rd place, David Gaskin or Dibs in second place, and your race winner Matt Odie in first place. Now let's quickly cut back to me because I have an announcement to make. There we go then guys, the first ever Learn to Race community race done and dusted. So I want to say again a massive thank you to everyone that came along. It was great to meet you all and have just a fun time out on track with you. And I want to say that there is going to be another one of these events coming soon later on this year, probably around October time. We're going to head to TeamSport Warrington. I know a lot of you guys and myself like that track, rate it as probably one of the best that TeamSport do, so I'm looking forward to getting back there again, and I hope some of you guys are going to look forward to it as well. But keep your eyes and ears open for when I announce that with the dates and everything, which will be around sort of mid-August time. So I've got a couple of months to get the race filled up, get it all booked and get everyone ready for it. So I hope you're going to look forward to that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, as always, please give it a like, drop me a comment down below, and if you're new here and you enjoyed this kind of video style, please consider subscribing to the channel. But that's going to do it for now then, so I'll catch you in the next one very soon.